Hey everyone, it's Marla at Twinstrology. Thanks for joining me once again. Today we have a pick a card reading. This one is going to be for Venus retrograde, which she starts her retrograde journey on December 19th, the day after the Gemini full moon. So if you would like a message about what Venus retrograde holds for you, please choose one of the 4 Venuses below. Now, if you're coming across this video and it's past Venus retrograde, that's okay. It's a timeless reading and you can still get a message about what's happening in your life. So choose a Venus and then look for the timestamps below. If you chose Venus number 1, this is your message about how this Venus retrograde is going to affect you. The overall theme of Venus retrograde for you is sacrifice. Now this is from the Lover's Path Tarot. This card equates with the Hanged Man in the traditional tarot. And there's several things that I'm getting about this card for you. So the major theme here is a letting go. You need to take a new perspective on something. You're needing to make some changes, and some of what you're going through has a little bit of this going down into the underworld theme, because Orpheus has to go down into the underworld in order to try to bring back Eurydice. Now, he actually succeeds in getting Pluto to allow Eurydice to come back, but there's a condition. He can't look back at her until they're out of the underworld completely. And he does indeed look back to see if she's following him. So there's also a little bit of this energy of trust for you around this Venus retrograde. And it's about how much you can trust. How much do you trust the universe? Do you trust your higher self? How much do you just believe in yourself and the things that you can do on a day-to-day basis? And that's why there's some testing happening and a little bit of going down into the underworld or the shadow elements. I also want to say that things are at a bit of a standstill. Nothing really seems to be moving for you at this time. And that might be triggering your trust in the universe. But it's an opportunity for you to develop that new perspective. Now, what challenges you at this time is the 4 of Arrows. So it's a time to rest. As I said, there's a little bit of challenge going on, testing, because I feel like you're preparing for change in your life. And you have to let go of the past in order to make room for the new. And that's going to be tiring for you. There's going to be physical activations for you during this retrograde period. And for a lot of you watching, there's going to be some emotional releasing. There's some turbulent waters here. Even though like there's this period of rest, you know, like she's sleeping, but I feel like inside there's lots of turbulence happening. And it's funny because it's very turbulent here today. There's high winds here. But yeah, take it easy. Give yourself a break during this period. how this is affecting your past is it's affecting your sense of power. You've got to be the king or queen in your own life. It's time for that. It's time for you to take control. You don't need to answer to anyone but yourself. So Venus is coming through to help empower you. Either you feeling like you've lost some kind of power in your life, or you're still working on gaining your power. There could be some power struggles with people happening. You know, that's certainly something that can come up during Venus retrograde because our relationships can be challenged. But I feel like for number one, a lot of your challenge is just internally. The goddess message for you at this retrograde, is from Vesta. Her message is home. Your household situation is improving either through a move or a healthy change in occupants. So, okay, again, there's a lot of things that I'm picking up, and this is a general reading, and so you need to take what is going to resonate with you. Obviously, the first thing is you are moving. You might be changing locations or just changing households, or the people in your house are moving. And I feel like this situation is getting better. If you're someone that has struggled with your home situation, then I feel like even though the Venus retrograde may trigger conflict with other people that live in your house, things are going to get better because of the changes that you're making in yourself during this retrograde period. Now, to expand on this a little bit, you know, if you aren't moving, then I want to say that the people around you are changing. So where it says there's a healthy change in occupants, okay, you might be allowing different people into your life, new people. You might be meeting someone new. Now, the other thing I want to say about this card is Vesta is the goddess of the hearth. And she's the goddess of our internal flame. And so for some of you, it's like you're getting in touch once again with your own inner flame. And this has to do with your spiritual life. You've been in a period where you've been asked to sacrifice things, and perhaps during this retrograde period, you'll continue to sacrifice. But it's because you're needing to find your inner passion again. And I feel like for a lot of you, that's going to be reignited. So if you've been feeling like stuck in a rut, not really caring about anything, not knowing where you're going, not knowing your direction, I feel like this inner spark is going to be coming back. And perhaps coming back because of a person that's entering your life. So let's do some messages from your higher self from the Intuit Twin Flame Oracle. The first message is, I've watched you change and grow so much. I'm trying to release my attachment to identity so I can change too. I hope you can see this and that this is in focus, because I really can't see the cards that well from my new setup. Anyways, the first message here from your higher self is confirmation that there's change happening. It's time to grow. And in order for you to grow, you have to release some kind of attachment to who you thought you were or what you thought you wanted. Again, there's like some change happening. A lot of you have been feeling like you're in this void state. And that's this internal shifting. A lot of this change will be internal. But I feel like after the first of the year, we're going to begin to see actual physical change manifest more. But we have to let go of the old first. I wish I could say what I really feel. Someday I will, but right now I'm afraid to be myself. So your higher self is saying it's time to take the mask off. It's time to be more of who you really are. And I want to go even further than that and saying that you might be learning something new about who you are. You might be expanding your sense of self at this time. I know that sounds weird, but this is actually something that I've been getting from Spirit, that a lot of times we don't even know who we are ourselves. That's how much programming we have, that we don't even know who we are. So you have to discover that. Take this time to discover who you are, what you want, what your next step is. So for some of you, you might be integrating a new part of yourself, doing some soul integration work. We're not just one thing. We have many layers of who we are, what we're here to do, what we love. And we have to, slowly expose all of that. The third message is, I feel you pulling away and it triggers my fears that you'll leave me for good. Okay, so this is about trust. And actually I could say that this card as well also has an element of trust to it, because a lot of times why we wear a mask is because we don't trust. We don't trust other people. We don't trust ourselves. Here again, there's a fear about trusting someone. And if there's a special person in your life, that person might be pulling away from you at this time, right? Because that might be what is being triggered. But there's an abandonment issue or a distrust in people that's going to be triggered during Venus retrograde. So how is this going to affect your future? The first card is Four of Earth, out in the cold. This is the Intuit Tarot Contraversa. So this is a neat deck. It has just the words, the captions on one side, and then it has keywords on the other side. Rejection, turmoil, alienation, harsh conditions, loss, breakups, negative change. So this again, I feel like that abandonment issue, that's going to come up for a reason, because you're moving beyond it in some way at this retrograde period. Again, there might be some going down into the underworld, some shadow work that has to be done here, and it might bring up some emotions, or something from your past might be triggered. Also, Three of Wands is how Venus retrograde will affect your future. Plans come to fruition. level up, big developments, travel for love, work, or pleasure, manifesting forward progress. So I feel like what the cards are saying is this, either this distrust, this abandonment issue, or the need to have a new perspective has been limiting your ability to really create the next step in your journey. Yeah, I don't really like how I said that. I guess what I mean, if I want to say that better, is, yeah, you've got to let go of this old wound. And when you do, you're going to see some really big forward progress. Again, new relationship is something that can come up. There's also the spiritual leveling up, because with the Hangman being the central theme, that is, awakening to another level. But manifesting and forward progress. It's almost like the universe is saying, don't worry if it feels like you've been stuck and nothing's really been happening, because that's an illusion. And you just got a few more steps to take, and then there's going to be huge forward progress. And that's really being echoed by the last card about your future, which is Eight of Fire. Things take off, movement in alignment, going forward, air travel, and communication. So Eight of Fire is very fast forward momentum. We have these jets here. So things are really ready to shift. So don't get stuck thinking negatively, and negative thought patterns might be something that is one of those things that you have to let go of, because you're in for a major shift. And the Isis message for you is life restored, priestess of the phoenix. So yeah, this card I think really wraps up this reading very well, because something is coming back to you. You thought that something was lost here, that's not really, I was going to say Orpheus thought Eurydice was lost and he got her back, but then ultimately he did lose her again. So maybe I don't want to make that comparison. But it's like, you feel like things are at a standstill. You feel like nothing's going anywhere. But Isis is saying, don't worry. You thought something was lost, and it's not. It's coming back. Let's read a little bit of this card, actually. Spiritual resurrection is gifted to you now. Whatever part of you or your life you thought is dead is being revived and will flourish back into life. Just as the phoenix rises from the fire, transitioning from death into life, so too will you rise again, healed and renewed. I'm sorry, I'm having such a hard time talking today. Healed and renewed. So we can see this with the Four of Swords. You've got to go inward at this time. It's okay for you to take some downtime, to be quiet, to not really be doing anything. Because when you least expect it, everything is going to roar back into life. And it may seem very challenging right now to be in the void. But really, that void is you creating your next step and preparing to level up. So I hope this resonated with you. The decks that I'm using today, I will list below in the comments if you're interested in any of them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a wonderful Venus retrograde, and I will speak to you again soon. Okay, if you chose Venus number 2, this is your message about retrograde. But like I said at the beginning, this is a timeless reading. So even if you're coming to it after Venus has gone direct, you'll still get a message. So the overall theme of Venus retrograde for you is going to be the Wheel of Fortune. So something very positive is coming into your life due to this retrograde period. I want to flip over these 3 cards together. This is what challenges you at Venus retrograde, and it is the Tower. I hope that you can see that despite the glare. And how this is affecting who you were in the past is 8 of Arrows. So this can tell us a little bit of a story here. So something very positive is coming into your life, but that isn't without challenge, because there's going to be like a tower moment that maybe doesn't feel good. I mean, the tower isn't always negative, but the tower is very freeing. And this card is saying that in the past, you've been feeling really stuck and you haven't known how to go forward, but there's a shift happening and the universe is going to direct you to your next phase. Now, the interesting thing about this Wheel of Fortune card is in this deck, we have this mythological story in which this woman is imprisoned in a tower because it's prophesized that she's going to have a son who is going to kill her father and become king. So her father locks her up in this tower and he keeps her isolated so that no one can get to her. And then Zeus falls in love with her and reverts to a spiritual form. And in his spiritual form, he can reach her. And he is the one that impregnates her. And she does indeed have a son that kills her father. So what I'm getting at with this is it's interesting because in this story, she's locked in a tower. And it feels like you've been locked in a tower too. And you haven't known how to get out. Or something's been happening in your life that has made you very unhappy. Now, it could be that this is a shift in consciousness that you need to make, or you're just waiting for the universe to show you the next steps. But for some of you watching, this is going to have to do with a person. Again, it's a general reading, so take what resonates for you. But on this card, we have Dido, and Dido is being abandoned by Aeneas, who is leaving her in his ship. And this is what is causing the tower moment. So for some of you, this is going to have to do with a relationship. And maybe there's a person that's going to be leaving your life. Or you're going to have an argument with someone and there's going to be separation. And you're going to feel hurt by it. Maybe you've been wanting to leave someone and you haven't known how to do it, but then the universe is going to help you. But the interesting thing about these cards is that the universe is saying that this is the best thing for you. Because this is ultimately bringing something wonderful into your life. It could even be bringing a new person into your life. Maybe a deeper spiritual connection than the person that's in your life right now. Let's look at some of the other cards. The messages from the goddess for number 2 is Bast. Her message is independence. your independence is a foundation for your strength and success. So we have another card here talking about like finding your own path. So I want to say again, it's could be that someone is actually leaving and you're finding that you now have independence. Again, that could be a good thing for some of you watching. For others of you, you may struggle with independence. And if that's the case, then something that you're letting go of right now, or you're working on letting go of through this retrograde, is any codependency that has maybe been sabotaging relationships for you. But perhaps everything isn't what it seems, right? Because with this card too, like for her, she thought there was no way she could meet anyone. She was locked in a tower. And yet someone does appear and fulfills this prophecy for her. So you might be feeling all alone and stuck, and maybe you don't know that someone is coming right around the corner. But it's important to remember that you need to honor your independence through this situation. Let's look at these messages from higher self. I've always felt I had a higher calling in life, and our connection brings me more clarity on it. Okay, so you're being called towards something by your higher self. Maybe you didn't know exactly what that was going to be. And through this retrograde, you're getting more clarity. My children need to come first. Trust that they're part of our plan, or our inner children need to come first. Well, I'm definitely feeling like inner child is the message here, especially with these two cards. You know, your inner child has been wounded and has felt abandoned and has felt a lot of limitations because of that wound. And now it's time to take care of that. For a very small segment of you, it could be that you're actually having a child, because we have the Empress was the Venus that was chosen. Then we had this myth in which she gets pregnant. And then we have this inner child card. So again, that's not going to be for all of you, but maybe a small percentage of you. You think I'm not listening to you, but I am. I hear everything you say and even replay our conversations in my head. Well, because this is a message from higher self, the first thing I would say is, you know, perhaps you think that the universe isn't listening to you. And you felt stuck for a while. And you've been like, okay, when is it my turn? When are you going to hear my prayers? When am I going to get my next step or some good things in my life? And your higher self is saying, I am listening to you. Don't think I'm not. I'm trying to give you what you want, but you have to work through this energy before you can actually get what you want. But, you know, there's this other message that I'm getting for some of you. If you're feeling like this message relates to a person, I feel like this person is saying, you think I'm not listening, but I am listening to you. I don't know, even that doesn't feel right. Again, guys, take what resonates for you, but like I'm also getting for some, there is a person in your life and they don't listen to you. They're not hearing you. And maybe you have to finally acknowledge through this energy that maybe this person hasn't been right for you. And you need to claim your independence from that relationship. Doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic relationship. It can be any kind of relationship that isn't just in your highest good in this point in time. But it feels like someone that you really wanted. You really wanted this person. You wanted this person to like you, to accept you. But maybe it's just not the right time or the right energy. Well, let's take a look at the future. How is this going to affect your future? The first card is Champion of Water, the unrequited lover, disappointment, obsession, heartbreaker, manipulator, revoked offers. Okay, so yeah, we're definitely getting the message here that perhaps there's a breakup or a period of separation is going to be happening. And it doesn't feel good. You're going to feel abandoned, but you've got to remember that all isn't as it seems, that this is in your best interest. Second card here about your future is unveiled mental clarity, releasing fears and anxiety, hearing and trusting intuition. This is the Intuit Tarot Contraversa. So these cards are both upside down. They're reversed. If you ever have trouble reading tarot, this is a good deck because it gives you keywords. Yeah, anyways, I just wanted to clarify these are reversed. This is actually the Moon reversed, and this is the Knight of Water, or Page of Water reversed. So with the Moon reversed, something is becoming clear. You were under some kind of illusion or deception before, and now you're getting clarity. If there was, this anxiety that you were feeling before when you felt stuck, you're letting that go. Again, it comes back to perhaps there's some hardship, but it's in your best interest in the long run. And then 9 of Earth. Rewards of your labor. Status, abundance, self-sufficient, mature, take it easy, on your own, freedom, sophistication, satisfied. Well, the 9 of Pentacles is that independence card. It's having everything you need contained. There's complete success and joy in that card, and yet there's only one person. So to me, this says you're finding your independence and you're happy with it. You feel more capable on your own. You're feeling free. And it really does feel to me like there's a weight being taken off your shoulder. This energy up here is very heavy, but what is coming in is very positive. Then we have a message from Isis too. This is the last card. Her message is Truths Unveiled, the revelation of Isis. Okay, so again, just like with this moon card, there's some kind of clarity that comes out of this retrograde period for you. You haven't, and it's like you haven't been able to see your way out of this. You're finding your way out. Let's read a little bit of this card. If I can find it. There are times when appearances of people, places, and things are truly deceptive. You will sense this when something feels uncomfortable within you. When you notice feelings of anxiety or doubt within you, you may think there's something wrong with you, but actually, you're intuitively sensing that all is not how it appears to be. It is wise to trust your inner feeling rather than being convinced by outward appearance. There's a situation in your life, especially involving relationships, where something is not as it's being made out to be. To avoid undue suffering later on, Isis guides you to truth and revelation now. The revelation of Isis is needed when something or someone is not as it outwardly appears to be, no matter how sacred it may seem. A spiritual person, a family relationship, a shared history. There are times when, although it is more painful to admit the truth in the short term, in the long term it will save you much suffering and feelings of being duped, misled, manipulated, used, or abused. It will also make it more likely that the situation or relationship can grow into a healthier expression if possible. You cannot heal what is not revealed. Isis is with you now to help you realize the truths, to admit that you probably already sensed it anyways, and to make wise use of this revelation now. The time will soon come when you will realize true perception. What you thought was trustworthy, legitimate, or reliable may turn to sand crumbling before your eyes. This may be a relationship, a job, an offer of some kind, or even the behavior of a loved one, causing you to question the real commitment or respect in a family or romantic relationship. You are being guided to trust your judgment about someone's motivations or intentions. If you feel something is not quite right, then give your discernment a chance to more fully form so you can see the truth. The more emotionally detached you allow yourself to be, the clearer your assessment of a person, situation, or offer is likely to be. Okay, so that kind of sums everything up. And it is about either a person or a situation. Like I said, it could be something that you believe about yourself that's not true, something you believed about someone else that they're not now showing up that way, or any kind of revelation. And while there may be some hurt feelings regarding this revelation, the clarity is really going to bring you something positive, and you're going to come out feeling so much stronger. And perhaps for some of you, believing more in yourself and believing more in your own inner guidance and trusting. And going back to this card, because perhaps you're not listening. Perhaps you're not listening to your higher self who's trying to get through. Or you know that there's someone in your life who they're not listening to you, they're not respecting you. So don't let your inner child, I want to say dictate, because I feel like for a lot of you, it's been your inner child that's kept you here because of something that's happened in your past that made you afraid. For some of you as well, it could be a child in your life, your child or a partner's child. Maybe there's some difficulty happening in that relationship. But anyways, I hope that resonated. If you're interested in any of these decks, I will list them and put a link below. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Okay, if you chose Venus number 3, this is your message. So the overall theme of Venus retrograde for you is going to be 4 of Arrows. So you're going to be very tired during this period. You may be feeling like you can't get any traction with things, although I think a lot of people right now feel like they can't get traction with things. But it's a period of rest. And I think that if you chose this Venus, which is from the, it's a Kyle Gray deck. I can't remember the name of it now. But Lady Venus comes with the message, downloads and understanding. Truth is being revealed. Deep insights are coming from heaven and the astral realm. So if you chose this one, I feel it's because intuitively you know that this period is going to be a time of deep healing for you, a time of downloads, a time where you just need to take a break and you need to find an opportunity to rest. This card came up for number 1 as well, and I feel like there's some emotional challenges that could be happening as well because we have this turbulent water. So even though she's sleeping, he's sleeping, it's like things are still, but inside there's some emotional turmoil being released. Some of the downloads that you're receiving are likely to come through your dream time state as well. So pay attention to your dreams if you chose this Venus. And I suggest keeping a dream journal at least while this is going on, but ideally you're going to do that all the time. What challenges you during this period is the 6 of Arrows. Well, the obvious thing here is that you're moving on, or you want to move on from something, but there's a bit of a challenge there. Like I said, you might be feeling stuck or tired or emotional at this time. And another level of this card is moving away from being in a super or emotional state of mind. So it's like you're looking for peace, you're looking for calmness, and you're maybe not finding it because the water on this card and this card represents state of mind. And here the water is very smooth. Here the water is very turbulent. So I feel like, your emotions perhaps are a little bit up and down during Venus retrograde. How this retrograde is affecting who you were in the past or issues from your past is 7 of Arrows. And again, it's like you want to move on. You're trying to move ahead, but it's not the time to move ahead. And that is a challenge. I feel like you've been wanting to travel, to move somewhere. It doesn't necessarily mean physically, but you're wanting something new to happen, but you've been trying to do too much. You've been trying to carry so much, and you don't know how to manage it. And so you felt stuck, or the path that you're wanting to take hasn't been clear. So I feel like you're looking to this retrograde energy to bring you this clarity and understanding of why things are happening this way for you. This card can represent deceit as well. So for some of you, you might have been deceiving somebody, or someone has been deceiving you, and that's coming to an end. There's moving on. It's interesting that these three cards are all arrows, and this is Psyche and Cupid on these cards. They're all from the same story. This card is the point in the story where she doesn't trust him. That's why I feel like maybe you felt like you've been deceived. But at any rate, new understanding is coming. You have to take what resonates, as this is a general reading. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a situation with a person. You know, it can just be internal energy. Your message from the goddesses is from Dana, High Priestess. You have divine knowledge that you can help others through your spiritual teaching. Okay, so that deep insight, again, new understanding, because you're more in your High Priestess energy, or these downloads are coming in. You're seeing something with so much more clarity. Of course, this card also suggests that like there's a purpose here, a mission for you that you're trying to fulfill, as far as being a spiritual teacher or a guide, or just helping people with things. That's another part of this energy that could be showing up for you. And maybe you just need to do a little bit more healing to reach this step. And that's what is happening over the next couple of months. Let's see what your higher self has to say. I know this is more than a relationship, and that there's a higher purpose to our connection. Okay. Again, I feel like your connection to your higher self is getting stronger through this period. Your psychic abilities are blossoming. You know, what wasn't clear to you in the past is becoming clear. And I feel like it's becoming clear because you're reaching a more balanced state through your healing. We are alchemists. We transform fear into love and shadow into light. Okay, so it's a time where you're doing a lot of transformation of energies, and that's why you're so tired. If, you know, you could be doing this for yourself or for the collective, but it's likely to be a hard time for collective energy. Maybe going through some struggles with this retrograde, and you're doing a lot of transmutation. Or if you're dealing with your own inner fears, it's time to transmute them and go within. This card is meditation as well. You know, we are connecting more with your higher self. I'm going through a dark night of the soul. Nothing in my life is making sense. Okay, so this card does suggest that there's a release going on. I don't necessarily want to say dark night of the soul because I've had this card come up when, you know, it's like a releasing, and yeah, there's some negative energy coming up, but I don't want it to scare anybody and feel like, oh no, this is going to be horrible. Because sometimes it's just like a releasing so that you can understand things that are happening in your life. Of course, the more that you surrender to the things that are happening, the easier it is and the easier you move through this energy. But if you resist things, that's when the pain comes. But don't forget, you're transmuting things. And ultimately, this is helping you just connect with more of your true self. This tends to not be your true self. This is more like the self in the shadows, or hiding things, or, you know, perhaps hiding behind a mask. So how is this energy affecting your future? The first card is rejuvenate, accepting the outcome, regeneration of a relationship, make a comeback, reconcile, over it, repair, moving on. This is the 10 of air reverse. This is the Intuit Contraversa tarot. Okay, so it's a time of rejuvenation, and that's why Venus is saying it's a time to go within. You're actually making a comeback. Something good is going to come out of this. Also, it says moving on. And you want to move on, and that move is coming. But like on this card, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a big wind and these curtains are blowing. Again, it's like stormy. And I feel like you're having to come through the storm in order to reach calm waters so that you can actually move on. This card mentions a reconciliation. There could be a reconciliation for some of you, especially because we do have these two cards. Here, the past, there's a separation. She's leaving. Again, they're the same couple together sleeping. So it could be a reconciliation for some of you. But if the reconciliation is going to happen, then I feel you have to let go of some of your emotions and fears before the reconciliation could happen. Now, interestingly, what else is ahead for your future is the Six of Air, which is the same as here, the Six of Swords. So this card came up twice about your challenge, but also what your future is. And try and get you to see it. Better times ahead, tranquility, becoming stable, overcoming hardship, peace, restoration, conflicts resolved. Okay, so yeah, you are moving on. There's no doubt about it. That's what's in your future. But you just got to go through this period. Again, it talks about conflicts resolved and restoration. So that could be with a person, but it also talks about becoming stable. And I feel like that's becoming emotionally stable. Again, take what resonates with you about these cards as it is a general reading. The third card about your future is Nine of Fire. A test of faith. grit, courage, boundaries, maintain faith, determination, persist, stand firm, endure. Okay, so this is the Nine of Wands. Sorry, it is not reversed. It is the Nine of Wands. Okay, so you're really feeling challenged at this time because you're tired. You're having to hold your ground with something, and that's why you're feeling exhausted. A lot of times on the Nine of Wands, we have a man who is, trying to maintain his boundary, his stance, even though he's exhausted from fighting. So I feel like, Venus is saying you're going to be really tired, but it's all part of what you need to do to move on. You have to just endure through this time period, maintain your faith and your trust, and you're going to see yourself moving ahead very soon. Now, the last message is from Isis. And her message for number 3 is Portal of Light. She glides on wings through space and time. So again, the Portals of Light card, I feel, is a strong indication that you're going to be getting downloads. There's information coming in. You're feeling very connected. So definitely take the time to go within and to meditate. There's going to be a lot of codes releasing through your DNA. I'm just going to read a little bit of this card. It is only this physical reality that is bound by time and space. You are a being conscious on levels beyond the physical world. You are guided to work with your healing powers beyond the confines of time and space, and to allow your sense of self to expand. It's safe for you to do this now. You will not become ungrounded through such spiritual work. You are not leaving your earthly awareness. You are instead adding to it. You are growing in power and awareness. You have had a breakthrough insight where you realize that you are not who you thought you were. You are in fact a much vaster being. Sometimes this is shocking and uncomfortable and difficult to accept. At other times, it was gentle and made sense to you. You are learning to integrate this awareness into your vast self, into your life. The practical consequences of doing so are extraordinary. To live with less and less fear and insecurity, to become more detached and more passionate, more loving and less demanding, to need less and receive more, to feel more joy and exert less force to attain it. Such wonderful gifts await you. You also are becoming capable of exerting healing influence beyond time and space, which means being able to help free yourself and others if you choose to share your healing gifts. You can learn to create freedom from trauma, attachment, history, and any other situation that may drain life force and distract from divine love, no matter whether it occurred in this lifetime or any other lifetime. What has happened in the past has no power over you. The portal of light is being opened to you now to travel through time and space, to release the past and open up to a bright future and call for more power in the present moment. Once you have done this for yourself, you are guided into the healing path. Then you can share this with others. Okay. I think I'll leave that there. But yes, that makes sense with this, with what is going on. And they're telling you that working, on the different levels, the different multidimensional levels, you can do this consciously through meditation, or you can do it unconsciously while you're sleeping. It really doesn't matter. But you are doing a lot of work on many planes of existence. So honor yourself. And, clearly there's some messages here about you being a spiritual teacher as well. And some of the things that you're going through at this time is to help you become stronger so that you can show others the way. So really great message. I hope that it resonated with you. If you're interested in any of these decks, I will put a link below with the names and where you can find them. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to speak to you again soon. Okay, if you chose Venus number 4, this is your message about Venus retrograde. The overall theme of Venus retrograde for you is going to be the Two of Wands. Two of Staves in this deck. Okay, so I feel like you're looking to the future about something. You know, with this card, you're sending your intentions out to the universe, but you haven't yet seen a return. This could have a lot to do with manifesting something, trying to create something, trying to reach success or the beginning of a journey. What challenges you at this time is Five of Wands. Okay, so you're being set upon, really, but I feel like there's conflict with people during Venus retrograde that you might want to be aware of. I feel like you're trying to maintain your calm, but definitely things are not easy. Now, how is this affecting your energy from the past? We have the Ace of Cups. Okay, let me think about this for a moment. So, I feel like for a lot of you, this is going to be about relationship if you chose number 4. And there was some love blooming. And then there's some conflict that happens. And then you're kind of like waiting to see what pans out with this connection, or you're sending your intentions out, maybe to make amends. But I feel like, yeah, there was like love, but something is happening where you're not getting along. There's an argument. There's an argument or something comes up that you weren't aware of or you didn't know about. I don't feel like it's really deceptive, but I do feel like there's some kind of clarity that comes about. But I feel like your feelings don't change for that person. I feel like your feelings stay strong. The message from the Goddess deck for you is Coventina, purification. It's time for a cleansing detoxification of your body and mind. Okay, so you know you're going to be doing some cleansing during this retrograde period. You're having to let go of something. And I feel like it's related to this situation with another person. But what's interesting is we have the Ace of Cups. We have the Queen of Cups. Here's Venus holding a cup. And then we have Coventina, who's also holding a cup that's overflowing. So I do feel, once again, that there's a strong bond here. There's a strong love connection. Alternatively, if you're not in a situation with another person that this is related to, then it's just a cleansing for you, I feel, coming up. And this period of cleansing sets a new story into motion for you. It's like starting you off on a new journey. Let's see what your higher self has to say. The first message is, my ego is fragile to criticism and rejection. I've created walls to protect myself. Okay. So the first thing I get with this picture is, again, we have a couple that's fighting and they've got their backs turned to each other, which once again makes me feel like there's a disagreement that happens with another person that's triggering on some level. And your higher self is saying, look, there's something about your ego that's involved in this. And if you really want to reconnect with this person, then you have to let your walls down. Please contact me. I may not respond, but knowing you care opens my heart. Okay. Well, I mean, on one level, this could be your higher self saying, you need to connect more with me. Not that your higher self is not going to respond. Of course, your higher self will always respond. But I feel like this is, once again, a message for you about a relationship. And maybe it's like your higher self saying, you can reach out to that person if you really want to, even if that person doesn't answer. I feel like your higher self is saying, like, there's some energetic work that you could do with this connection. Like 5D work. Or you're really like thinking a lot about this person and they're thinking about you despite this argument that happened. I long to sweep you off your feet and shower you with my love. Well, first of all, I feel like your higher self is saying, where's your passionate side? You have to let your passionate side free. And it's like, what do you really want? Do you want to stand there with your backs towards each other? Or do you want to have a connection? You have to make a choice. But also when this message comes up from your higher self, what your higher self is saying is, don't restrain yourself. Don't hold yourself back. You got to go for it. You got to follow your passions. And so again, if this isn't about a relationship for you, then this is you following your passions and you're not restraining yourself anymore. If you feel that's more your story, then it's like you don't care about the challenges. You're just following your heart. And you're letting the energy of your heart guide you. You're letting your passion guide you. And you're not, holding yourself back. We do that so much on our human level. We don't take a risk. We don't jump in with both feet. But perhaps this is breaking through that for you. Now, how this is affecting your future, we have balancing, regaining equilibrium, avoid burnout, rest, healing, recovery, self-care, meditate, seeking source. Well, this has really come up in every reading, that this is a time where you need to go within and do some inner healing work. You need to meditate. You need to rest. But I feel like for you, it's saying that this retrograde is really bringing you into a better state of harmony. Something that I feel is happening for you guys is you've been giving too much, and maybe you're needing to pull yourself back, or maybe there's been a relationship that's been a little bit imbalanced, and even if it's a disagreement that you have, it might have the result of creating a more harmonious relationship, a more balanced relationship. So often when we have a disagreement with someone or there's tension that comes up, we jump to conclusions that it's really negative, but sometimes we need to have that energy be released and to have our true feelings and thoughts be known so that we can actually create the changes that we want instead of just trying to stick our head in the sand or bury our feelings or whatever. Next card about your future is recovery, overcoming sorrow, reconciliation, letting go, release, forgive, healing, feeling optimistic and hopeful. So this is the Three of Swords reversed. This is the Contraversa tarot. So you're healing. Where there was pain, where you had heartbreak, you're now healing. Of course, the first message is reconciliation. So there could be a reconciliation coming in your future, but letting go, forgiving, healing, and believing, being hopeful is necessary for recovery. And I think in this card too, it shows optimism and hopefulness as well. This person is starting a new journey. They're not starting a new journey with a heavy heart. They're starting a new journey optimistically. They're looking towards the future. They're looking to all the possibilities and opportunities that are open for them. But yeah, that's a great card. Recovery. Recovery from heartbreak. And then we have Champion of Water, following your heart, affection, attraction, romantic proposals, tactful, sensitive, chivalry, grace, charm, invitation, artistic, psychic. Okay, so another card that could be suggested of a reconnection with someone, we have romantic proposals, attraction, follow your heart. Okay, so if you're in that first scenario where there's been some challenges in a relationship, I feel like these cards are saying that it works out in the future. Maintain your poise and just know that this is a healing period for the two of you. Or if this is the second scenario and this is about you learning to trust and follow your heart and let your passions guide you, let your spirit guide you, then that is also definitely the direction where you're going. Like artistic and psychic are standing out to me. And I feel like, being artistic is so connected to our emotions. And with these cups, these 3 cups, I feel like there's something about your emotions that are healing, and you're definitely entering this more balanced state. Not to mention just feeling happier in general and more aligned with the universe. And I think that's going to come through in your artistic abilities. The last card is from Isis. And her message is Eye of Horus, awakening divine perception. So psychic abilities as well are also growing if you chose number 4. Awakening divine perception. There could be something about your perceptions that's changing. how you were perceiving this situation, whether it's with a person or whether it's just how you're perceiving your heart and following your heart. There's something about that that's changing. Like, you might be afraid to follow your heart at times because you worry about what other people are going to think or do. Maybe that people are going to judge you, or that there's going to be negative energy thrown at you. But that's changing. You're seeing that that's not true. Or you're finding your inner strength, perhaps. Let's read a little bit of this Eye of Horus card. The Eye of Horus brings divine perception, protection, and insight. You are gifted with certain spiritual abilities, including divine sight, that are awakening and growing now. You have much divine support and protection so that you may grow your abilities and serve others with your divine gifts. Trust your perception and know that you are divinely protected. The Oracle of the Eye of Horus is a stamp of divine encouragement, approval, and protection. If you've been wondering about your divine path, about whether you have genuine gifts of healing and insight to share, about whether your inner perception is actually true insight, and whether you will be protected spiritually in certain matters or situations, then this oracle is confirmation for you. You also have guidance here that your inner sight is expanding yet again, taking a turn on a higher twist of the spiral of perception. There are gifts of higher clairvoyance, pure knowing, divination, and divine communion, and they all flow in truth from the fountain of the heart. You can expect these gifts to grow, and as a result to see even more detachment, accuracy, and clear knowing. It's important that you trust this inner sight and that it comes from your heart. This will ensure that your sight is accurate and helpful. Inner sight will never judge or harm another. It will certainly help you discern the underlying truth of situations or relationships so that you can make wise decisions. Finally, this oracle is also an indicator of a triumph over darker energies and emotions. Whether you've been struggling with psychological darkness, unfulfilling habits, patterns of subversive or undermining behavior within yourself, or from toxic relationship patterns with others, or with organizations or groups within society, know you will triumph, and the sun, the truth, the light will prevail. Pray for protection, clear insight, and trust your inner guidance. You will triumph in light over darkness. Your success and growth are assured. Okay. So yeah, a lot of things there. A lot of that for me was about trusting your heart. This divine perception, I think I even said this before, that it comes from your heart. It comes from all your truth, all your insight really comes from a clear heart. And I feel like at this time, that's really what you're working on. And this purification card is purifying your heart and your motivations, clearing away some of your subconscious patterns, the egoic patterns, so that you can really follow your heart, whether you're following your heart and your purpose or with another person. But this time of retrograde will be a time of healing and, in return, clarity. And yeah, I think if there's been some misperceptions, projections happening in relationships, that's something that's going to be seen. And I feel like you're going to see ways perhaps that you have been holding yourself back, that some ego wounds have been holding you back, like hurt from the past has been coloring your mind with maybe some stories that aren't exactly true, or that aren't true for you any longer. And you're ready to move on from that. So thank you so much. I hope that that resonated with you. If you're interested in any of the decks I used today, you'll find a link for them below. I'm sending you guys so much love, and I look forward to talking with you again soon.